Hi, this is Kathy Withers. I'm at the Withers Wool Farm. When you come to visit me, you'll drive through several different gates. If I know you're coming, the gates will be open. And you'll come all the way down to the red barn and you'll park in front of it. It's an 1820 barn that has been totally renovated. So as you walk in, you'll see that I always have some sort of display. The pile of rovings here on the floor in front actually have to do with the Indian corn or the rainbow corn that I grew this year. So I sorted out a lot of different colors. I was fortunate to have some roving that was already the right color and the right combination. Others I will end up blending to create the looks of these. And I'm varying between doing bullions, knotted yarn, and coils to duplicate the sheen and the shape of the ears of corn. So it's kind of fun. I do lots of weaving, and I love to incorporate my freeform yarns into it. You can see a variety of the different ones here. I do freeform knit and crochet, which is the purple piece at the back. I have all sorts of shawls and other kind of things that you can find on either witherswool.etsy.com or the finished goods you'll find on artweaving.etsy.com. I kind of split them out because some people were confused about $8 shawls when it was actually, it said it was a pattern, and they kind of missed that. So I keep them as two separate things. And for a lot of my patterns, I actually do sell the finished model because there's a limit to wall space. Some of my favorite things are feathered yarns, more feathered yarns, and patterns to go with it. This one right here I designed several years ago. Actually, it was exactly for the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival. So I named it the Shenandoah Shawl. Haven't been that creative recently. Freeform yarns, they all have a little bit of whimsy in them. Some have sewing things in them. Some have just a lot of different kind of really cool looking beads. This one here was just based on colors. I have lots of beaded yarns. I have mill spun yarn or traditional sport weight and fingering weight that can go with any of the art yarns. I have patterns for pretty much everything I've designed, and I try to design something using each of the different types of yarn that I have, because then you can see what they look like. The only exception is my knotted collar. I have the pattern for it, but somebody in Hawaii bought it, therefore I no longer have my model. I carry gradient yarns. I do fun things like flowers on yarns. If you can put a hole through it or stick a needle and thread through it, I can probably do something with it. I carry elastic yarn because I actually spin elastic yarn. They're great to make a headband with. And I have almost every color combination that you want. I even have a few colors that work for guys, and that has not always been the case. My back wall over here is dedicated to the different rovings that I've actually priced and put online so that I can find them. Mill spun yarns that are in their natural color, some that are dyed that are listed online, and then a lot of others that I'm in the process of listing now that I have so much time. Okay, I start out with, I've got 3 racks. This one here is mostly natural colored. Coming around the side, it's sorted by colors, so these are my very light colored natural colors. Then I shift into reds and pinks and fuchsia. And so if your eye kind of gravitates towards one of these sections, then it tells you that the color that is really something that you use a lot. This section here is blues, and in this case it might be a very pale subtle blue, but it's still blue. Turquoise, which is a shade of blue too. And then this rack here that looks kind of ratty was all blues. I've gone through it and I'm repricing some of the things that have been around because I don't do sales. I just change the price to reflect the value, and if it's not worth what I think it should be, or I mean if it's too much for what and it's not as nice as what I'm currently doing, then I mark it down and I don't give discounts. So the price that you see on something is the price that you are always going to see, unless I sneakily go in and drop the price on you, and you can be pleasantly surprised. These right here are my greens, which are actually my favorite colors. And if I had to pick one that I loved above all others, it's this one. The variation in color just pulls me in. Then I have my oranges. Some of them I call fall colors. Some of these other oranges are also. I've got my yellows, then my light colored ones. And the racks here in the front are, for the most part, art yarns. A couple of them here and there will be singles that complement them. But for the most part, the singles will be in a different section or right next to the piece. And what's kind of funny is that I'll put them together with the idea that, oh, they'll make this pattern. And someone buys either the art yarn or they buy the single. So I never really worry about it, but I've sorted them by color so you can kind of see what's available. A few more shades of orange. And then I'm back around to the front again with a couple more naturals and neutral. And lest I forget, I have a lot of mohair locks. These are just pick as you want. You can always text me and say, hey, I want a combination of these colors. I won't sell less than 2 ounces at a time because it's not worth the trip to the post office. And I have more already in bags here, and you'll find those already listed online. I have a huge batch of nicer rovings, a few more patterns at the back. And then my third rack here is a mixture of things that have been around for a while, and when I decide to make something new, I kind of tend to gravitate towards this first, because I do lots of weighted blankets, and these are heavier yarns. You would think, being in a colder climate, that they would sell faster, but that doesn't actually work that way. When people get here, they find the art, and I'm so glad that they're sucked into it, because that's really my love. And I design hats. I'm going to take a quick walkthrough so you can see. So this is the shop part, but then you can see the rest of the place. I have my loom that I just took 6 projects off of, and there's one still hanging on there. And the one that's still hanging on there is a red that's going to be a curtain for one of the 2 guest bedrooms that we've put in the building. We can't let people stay here in the summertime if it's too hot, because the fans don't really keep it cool enough. But in the wintertime, with heat in the building now, we can. So back there is older roving stuff that people are on a real budget will enjoy. And I'm working on getting things listed. This right here is my Elsa Carter. It's a real workhorse, and it allows me to produce some interesting bats. They either are used for felting or for spinning. The finer merino and kid mohair I tend to spin. This one right here is a mixture of all sorts of stuff that I threw on there, but you would not believe how soft it is. And then on the other hand, there's some stuff that isn't so nice. 2 guest bedrooms are up there, a twin and another one. We'll eventually get around to doing an Airbnb, but my husband's working full-time, and that's not really something that we want to be doing right now. This area right here is where I teach spinning. I have spinning groups meet. I have another small loom over here, and while they're here, I'm going to capture some of the animals so that you can see where it comes from. I sheared this guy a week and a half ago, and there's his harem. And they all come up here, and the reason we have the black fence around it is not because of the goats. The goats, yes, they do have horns, but they tend not to hit windows and things like that. But I had one sheep. She managed to break a door and was thinking about breaking another door, so we ended up putting up a nice little fence and putting a patio, so on nice days we can sit out here and just kind of watch what we've got. And the goats are pretty good lawnmowers, because this would be what most people call their front yard, and they're just mowing it down. So moving back in, I have more bats here. These are things that I've made on my felt loom, which we're going to approach in a minute. Some of them are really thick and are best suited to be rugs on the floor, which is actually what this one is. And the wind kind of blows it, and it collects trash, so I end up running it through the dryer. But I thought it was kind of pretty. So there's a little bit of stuff everywhere. Skins are mostly from animals that we couldn't keep for one reason or another. Quite often it's because they're males, and you can only keep 1 or 2 males without them starting to kill one another. And it's better to just let them go before that happens. And this is a little kitchen area, a place to hang out and knit. This is where I sit, and I've been sitting there the last couple of days listing things. And then I don't have my lights on over here. Let me see if I can, I don't think those will do it. But anyhow, in the back over here, I have lots of bats, and all of these bats are basically to go through my felt loom, to turn them into rugs, material, etc. They're not nice next to the skin kind of thing. They're for people who want to design wall hangings or rugs, something that, you know, doesn't go on the skin. And I won't take you down there because excuse me, that's my cleaning area, and it's not clean, so I won't embarrass myself. So you've basically seen what I give a short tour to people when they come out. It's not as sterile as looking at something virtually online, but it can give you a taste of where it comes from and who I am. And I'm always kind of asked how I got started in doing this. And I was in Arizona. And this is the part where if you want to cut me off, you can just go right ahead. I was in Arizona raising sheep and Angora goats, and they were doing okay with the heat, and I was really enjoying that. But then I ended up with merinos, and merinos cannot tolerate the heat. And this past summer, what's been happening in Tucson would have caused me to move if I hadn't already. So, but I've always loved animals, enjoyed playing around with yarns and color. And when I realized that I could make my own yarn and I could make it be what I wanted it to be, I was very happy. And I left my gate open and somebody just discovered it. And, oh, they all found it. Well, I have to go. It's a good place to break. But if there's a tree to eat, they will do it. So this is Withers Wool. I hope you enjoyed this and enjoy shopping in my shops. Bye-bye.